All right, welcome. It is Thursday, and we are here doing our LinkedIn Live show, really helping women entrepreneurs create their voice, be seen, and be heard in this digital world. I'm Emily Lopez, digital marketing strategist, and super excited today to have Priscilla Baldwin with us. She's going to be, I don't know actually what we're going to chat about entirety, but we had such a great conversation about being a heart-led leader. We were talking about her business, Life Care Companions, that's in Florida. And we'll just see where we get into today. But again, thank you so much, Priscilla, for joining me today. I'm happy to have you on here. Again, it's my mission and my purpose to help women use their voice and be seen for all their amazingness. And we had such a great conversation. So here you are, and we were chatting today on LinkedIn Live. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. So why don't we jump in and tell my viewers and your viewers as well on LinkedIn a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your business?
Well, my name is Priscilla Baldwin, and the name of the business is Life Care Companions of Northwest Florida. We're located in Pensacola, Florida. My business, when I started out, was in 2003, and it was Total Care Health Agency. And the name changed in 2012. So we're now Life Care Companions of Northwest Florida. We're a homemaker companion service, and we're home and community based services. The clientele that we have is persons living with disabilities. We work with Alzheimer's and in-home support as well, going into the homes and doing things with the elderly as well as persons living with disabilities.
Awesome. So I want to congratulate you because starting from 2003, you have been through so many, I'm sure, ups and downs, peaks and valleys, different economies, and you're still going. And
Yeah.
especially with COVID, I'm sure you had a lot of, I'm going to just say, eventfulness going on with your business, like many
Yeah.
people.
Hmm.
So I'm curious too. Like as being an entrepreneur for so long and a business owner for so long, how do you go through those ups and downs? Like, how do you deal with COVID, especially since your business is working with people one on one when things shut down? Like, what was your thought process around? Like,
Our thought process was the people that we work with, how were we going to be able to be safe with the COVID vaccine, as well as for our clients, as well as for the people that were working. What we found, what the majority of the clients that we had at the time, they were being taken out into the community to for services,
mm,
and some of the things that they were doing for them, it was either socialization or it was to teach a skill. And the majority of the ones that we did have, they decided not to go out for their own precaution.
mm-hmm,
And so at that point, the services that we did provide, we didn't provide anymore because of everyone was concerned about when COVID first hit and the precautions. And it was better for our clients to be in a safe environment instead of going out, like we normally do. And
mm-hmm,
so even with that aspect of COVID being prevalent, it was the reteaching after, the after everything had relaxed, and we were learning how to mask up. And that was one of the tasks that we were teaching: how to mask up, how to wash hands, how to do all the precautions. But for some, there were behavior issues that we had to look at. because it's like starting all over because we had a routine and that
Mhm.
routine was broken. So we had to go back to, so it wasn't really going back to what we knew or what we were um, teaching. It was reteaching and relearning for everyone. I mean, everyone that was, what was normal for us was no longer normal for any of us.
Yeah.
So all of us had to learn how to cope with COVID. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and I titled this "Leading from the Heart and Avoiding Caregiver Burnout," because you are what you do. Commend you is a caregiver, and we were talking about all different types of clients and patients that you work with, and how people don't recognize as a caregiver. We were talking in our previous conversation, we were talking about working with the elderly, like, and if you have a mother or father or grandmother, grandfather, or someone who's older that you're taking care of, um, how do you take care of them? How do you give them your whole, but not like, how does it not consume you all and take your energy, right? And
Hmm.
that's something that we don't realize, because when it's your loved one, you want to give them everything, right? Or at least for me, my perspective, if it's my loved one, if it's my family member, I want to make sure that they're okay. And I can see how easily it is to burn out. And I've seen it with my grandparents. My parents taking care of my grandparents when they were older. So I'm just to talk to me a little bit about that. Like, how do I first, how do you even recognize that you're about to be in that burnout stage? Because a lot of times you don't realize that you're there. And then so after you realize that, like, what are some steps to help you not burn out?
Well, the steps is recognizing that in your everyday I, I we normally call it the sandwich generation, where
Mm,
there's individuals that are still working, still have kids that are at home, still working their 9 to 5, still doing their daily activities, and they're still looking after mom if mom and dad are not in the residence with them. So that's the sandwich generation. And for them, it's trying to combine both worlds, trying to allow those worlds to merge. And sometimes with that, we're not really aware of, because we're mom, we're wife, we're employee, we're all of these, we have all of these roles that we play, you know, and we're not really aware of the things that are going on for caregiver burnout, because sometimes we're caregiving part-time, and sometimes there's the ones that are their primary caregivers, and they're doing everything for everybody. So when you have a time set aside, or if you have a support system in place, whether it's siblings, whether it's friends, whether it's church groups that your parents attended, those people can come in and give you a respite care for you, or
mm-hmm,
respite care for your family member. That will allow you to step outside of all of the activities that you are doing for home, job, parents. That allows you a way to just to retreat for a little while. If it's nothing but an hour, 45 minutes, whatever that time is, take that time to for me time, for self-care. If
mm-hmm,
it's nothing but going to the grocery store and just walking around, or if it's calling someone to go to lunch, or if it's enough time for you just to take a hot bath and just sit in the tub with a book, glass of wine, whatever that is for you, that'll help you just to step away from that situation. 45 minutes to an hour. Maybe if you can make a whole day of it, just to be able to step away from everybody and to go on a shopping spree, or just to have time with a close friend, just to talk about the things that are going on, so that way you can refocus, readjust, and get back to what needs to be done. Because a lot of times, if we are able to step away from the situation, we're coming back refreshed.
Mm-hmm.
We're coming back to being centered, just to be able to go an additional day, go an additional hour, depending on what's going on with your parents. Or if you have a child that's disabled, that also helps for you just to step away and to regroup. That way you're coming back focused, you're coming back to and being in the present moment. Because a lot of times our mind is going with that mental to-do list. I got to
Mm-hmm.
do this, I got to do that, got to do this, got to do that. And and when you step away from it, it'll everything will align itself, and everything will, play itself out.
I love it. So I love that your company supports people in this process to give themselves time to care, not only for their loved one, but for themselves.
Right.
Right. But what I find is sometimes people are like, maybe it's like I can't afford it in terms of like I can't I feel like there's a couple different things that people are going to come to you like I can't afford it or this is my loved one, no one's going to be able to take care of them like I can, right? And there's probably like some other things too that people may have objections of working with you and they don't realize that they need the help.
Hmm.
So what would be like some things that you would talk to people like how do you work with them to say okay like let's take a breath for yourself to realize that you do need this hour or you do need this 45 minutes for you to just like breathe and take time off.
Well, with that, you really have to assess everything. You really have to assess everything, because a lot of times people don't realize that the primary caregiver, statistically saying 30% of the primary caregivers are the ones that will pass away before the person that they're taking care of. And so you have
Wow.
to really look out for yourself. As good as you are taking care of your loved one, you have to put yourself in that position to realize that self-care comes first. It's just like when you're on the plane and they say that you have to get the breath for yourself first before
Yeah.
you're able to help someone else. So the
Yeah.
self-care starts with you first, and then once you get that self-care, then you're able to help someone else. And with caregivers, they most are learning to delegate responsibilities to other people. And
Hmm.
for me, when my dad was sick, it was 04, 05. I'm his only child, so it's different for only being the only child than when you have siblings. With that being said, all the responsibility falls on you. And like you had said previously, my mindset at the time was no one can take care of my dad like I can.
Hmm.
Nobody can do that for me. And my ex-husband, my father and my ex-husband had a really good relationship. And when my father became sick, my ex-husband would come on his lunch break and he would say, just trust me for an hour. And it was to the point where I didn't trust anyone because nobody can do it like me. And, I had to do all of these things and I was really burning myself out. But when
Hmm.
he came and he said, just trust me for 1 hour, that's it, 1 hour. And when he began to do that, it allowed me to step away from the situation, you know, and to refocus, to rethink what I needed to do, what needs to be done. And he would come 3 days a week for that 1 hour for me to step away, refocus, readjust myself, and clear my mind so I can think that, okay, now it's not so overwhelming, it's not so to the point where I can't think. And a lot of times when we're overwhelmed, we really can't think. We're not thinking clearly.
Hmm.
We are frustrated, and it comes out either in our conversations, either in our behavior. It's, it's going to come out. So when you step away for a moment to realign yourself, to readjust yourself, to think clearly, because you're no longer with that fuzzy thinking, that you
Mm-hmm.
have that clarity of, okay, this is what I need to do next. So self care is very important. It starts with you. It starts and ends with you. So that way you can delegate. If you have support system in place, like we had spoke about earlier, if
Mm-hmm.
it's the groups that your parents had been in from church, or if it's groups outside of church that are willing to come in and sit with with your 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 person, or if it's your sisters or your brothers, they can come in and sit and help and take, the majority of that responsibility off, because there are going to be some medical decisions that have to be made. And sometimes that clouds your thinking, because
Mm-hmm.
it's really overwhelming. It's like a wave that comes over you, and
Yeah.
and you just have to step away for a minute just to get that clarity and just to take care of you.
Yeah. And I love it, right? Because we're talking about in your profession, right? You're a professional caregiver. That's what your business does. But this, what you're saying is giving yourself that space and the time. And you can use that in any part of your life, right?
Right.
Because I just feel like from a business perspective, a lot of times entrepreneurs are going and going and going. And if you're starting your business or you're like the middle part of your business, you're taking on a lot of stuff and you're doing it all on your own, right?
Right.
So sometimes it's a delegation to other people to do tasks and say, okay, I need to take a step away so I can take care of myself. And that's getting that mental clarity, that's taking that bath, that's going for the walk. And when you give yourself time to step away, you come back to your project very refreshed. And that's like what you would do with your relationship. So we're talking about caregiver burnout, but it's burnout in general. Like you're giving great advice to help people recognize you must take care of yourself. And in order to get things done, you have to be, and I talk about doing business from a mind, body, soul perspective. This is the
Right.
one things I really talk to my clients about is like, how do you take care of yourself? You're going to drive results in your business, but you have to take care of yourself. So I just love that, this is what you're doing day in and day out for so many people.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So what do you, I mean, you've been in business for so long. Any gems that you can drop on us to keep, like, how do you keep yourself excited about business? Like, how do you continue to evolve? How do you continue to change?
Well, I love what I do, first of all. And I try to meet everybody where they are
Mm,
at that point, wherever you are. That's where I meet you. I'm not meeting you 10 feet further than where you are. And it's just meeting people where they are, and just establishing that relationship with that individual,
mhm,
because a lot of times in our business, we walk into other people's worlds, and you have to be conscious of the fact that I'm coming into your world. You're not coming into mine.
mhm,
So, and we have to meet people where they are. And what keeps me refreshed are so much information, that's coming in, so much different things of how to proceed further, or just the different trainings and workshops that keeps you abreast and abroad of what's going on. The
mhm,
terminology has changed down through the years, but it's the same concept, and it's person centered. You just have to meet that person where they are, not where you want them to be, but exactly where they are, you know. And if people can learn to meet people that have a disability, meet the person and not the disability.
mm. That's so powerful. I mean, I not only in your profession, but just in general. I feel like if people were to do that more, um, the world would be a better place.
Yeah.
But I also love that you said, like, see the person for who they are and not for a disability, right? And I'm sure that's something that you work with people, because it's not innate, right? I feel like in our culture we're always categorizing people, like, yes, you have a disability, or yes, this is like, you're a mom, you're a dad. When you put all these titles to people, like, you don't really understand, or you don't get to connect to the person. So by you saying, like, get to know the person before the disability, somebody with Alzheimer's or somebody aging, right? Get to know them for who they are. Just makes it a much more beautiful process.
Right. It
I
does.
love I love it. So I'm a digital marketer, and as I'm talking to you, I'm thinking, okay, so she's been in business for a long time. She's doing great. Do people, like, how do people find you? I think about, from a marketing journey, like, are you reaching out to them? Are people just like, is it word of mouth? And how do people, if you're in the Florida region, Pensacola, right? Is that what you
Mm-hmm.
said? In Pensacola, how do they reach out to you?
Well, we have a website.
Okay.
It's www.lifecarecompanionsnwfl.com. There's our website. Um, Word of mouth as well. We are affiliated with a lot of insurance companies. We're a Medicaid waiver of Florida for persons with disability. Um, we're on Facebook. We just set up our YouTube channel.
Oh,
Yeah, we do some webinars like once or twice a month on different subjects for the community, so that
okay.
they are aware of different things that's going on, and we're just speaking to different people, because our mission is to introduce innovative ideas and new concepts to Northwest Florida. So we speak to a lot of different people to get information. We On Tuesday we did our part three of executive functioning skills. So we had three different speakers from different, so that's helping, because a lot of people, when you say executive functioning skills, they're like, what is that? And
That's
it's
what I was gonna ask you, and tell me more, because we talked about your series, and I was like, this is great stuff. So yeah, tell us
yeah,
some more.
for executive functioning skills, it's everyday living skills. Like with some individuals, we may teach how to take out the trash, or it's maybe flexible thinking, where they're learning how to comprehend, asset, assess, and analyze different situations. Executive functions skills could be teaching someone how to make up a bed and the steps to making up the bed, or teaching someone, like I said prior, to taking out the trash, or teaching them how to do do groceries. And it's also with your working memory, with
Mhm.
different things, learning how to remembering how to do a puzzle or different activities. So, and with executive functioning, it's from zero to lifetime. These are the things that we do on an everyday basis, whether it's learning how to balance a checkbook, going to the bank. All of these are activities that we do, that we have been taught to do. But it may take someone else a little bit longer to make up the bed. They may do step one and then skip step two and go to step three. When that happens, we have to start all over again, so that we
Mhm.
can get the steps: step one, step two, step three. And it may take 6 months for one individual to learn how to make up a bed, or the process of making up the bed. And each time we skip a step, we go back to the beginning. So then that way, they're constantly, and they're remembering, this is step one, this is step two, this is step three. And so, as long as the goal is to get them to make the bed, it doesn't matter how long that it takes, as long as we accomplish the goal.
I love it. Patient. patience and consistency and
Right.
repetition. And again, that's what we need. I mean, as someone who looks always to achieve goals, like that's what we need. It's the patience, it's the consistency, it's to try it over and over again. If it doesn't work, try it again and
Right.
try it again
Try
and
it
try
again.
it again.
Right.
Yeah, and try it again. And what I also love that you were talking about, we were talking about you were bringing a holistic perspective, or at least introducing people to more holistic modalities, right,
Right.
into your caregiving experience. So, can you talk a little bit more about that and introducing people to that?
Yes. On our webinar, we had two massage therapists that spoke about the massage therapy. Um, they talked about the cupping. Sometimes we have individuals that have a lot of phlegm in their bodies, or and she explained how to do the cupping. With the cupping, it allows for the phlegm and all of the inflammation for it to move. So, and a lot of our clients have not been to a masseuse before. They don't know the steps, or we just wanted to give them a chance to know that there are different things that are out here that could help possibly with the body or with the
Yep.
mind.
Yep.
We even have a young lady that was a yoga instructor, and we talked about meditation and what the meditation does for the mind and the body, the relaxation of the body. A lot of our clientele doesn't know anything about yoga, you know. So we would try to introduce through our webinars the what meditation is, the relaxation, what the benefits are, and things like that.
That's awesome. So not only are you doing an amazing job at caregiving, but you're showing innovative techniques to help people at different stages of their life to help from a mind, body, soul perspective. So that's
Right.
awesome. And like she said, she's doing these webinars. And even though you may not be in the Florida region, you can always jump on her webinars and learn about something, because caregiving is something we'll probably all have to do at one point of our life.
Yeah.
um and so it's really important to understand that there are people out there who could support you. It's so important to get support in that time frame, and it's also important that you take care of yourself, when you are in a caregiver situation, because it's so easy to get burned out. I mean, I seen it with my grandfather was 100 years old when he passed.
Oh,
Bless
wow.
his soul. And my mom's family is from 8. So they had, luckily, 4 brothers, 4 sisters that they kind of rotated in taking care of him. And even with 8 siblings, they were exhausted, right? Because you were talking about that sandwich effect. You know,
Right.
they have families, they have jobs, they have responsibilities. So I just saw that even with 8 people, it was just so much for them. And they also had caregivers come in and help, because at the end of the day, they needed time to take care of themselves.
Right.
So what you do is so important, and I thank you for doing that, because you really um, support people in such amazing ways, and you probably don't even see it because that's what you're just doing day in and day out. So thank you, because you're giving people, not only are you taking care of their loved ones who are so like near and dear to them, but you're helping them take care of themselves, and that's what's important.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, awesome. So we're almost to our half hour. Is there anything that you wanted to let the audience know before we end? Anything that we haven't talked about that you wanted to chat about?
Not really. I just want people to meet people where they are. And also, what I wanted to really stress is that sometimes we look for a physical disability, and
Mhm.
there's also the invisible disabilities that we don't see, like the lupus, the diabetes, the asthma. There are so many, invisible, disabilities that we don't see. So we need to be mindful of everyone, because we don't know. visible or invisible disabilities. They're there.
That. I love that. Because at one point in time, I had chronic migraine. And this is like lifetimes ago, but I know it was in my 20s. And we would consider it a disability, but no one would consider it a disability because it wasn't like a physical thing, but
Right.
it was crippling. Like I literally couldn't focus on anything because I was always in pain. And, I one of the reasons I jumped into holistic healing was because of that. So I was able to really work through that, change my eating habit, do meditation, do the cupping, do massage therapy, and able to really function at a high capacity, maybe get migraines once or twice a month. Um, but the point is that it was I the migraine is a disability. Chronic migraine is a disability, and people didn't see that. And so you don't know what people are really going through, whether it's physical or invisible. And I think more and more people are starting to talk about invisible disabilities.
Hmm.
But I love that you're bringing that more to the forefront. And you were talking about diabetes, right? And diabetes is like, what is it, like number one or two of one of the chronic illnesses that are plaguing the US, if not the world right now. Lupus. What else did you talk about? Lupus,
Asthma.
diabetes. Oh, okay.
Asthma.
Asthma.
Yeah, because it's just a lot of, there's a list, and there is an organization called Invisible Disabilities. I think they're invisibledisabilities.com, and they're a
Okay.
real organization. So check them out, because there's a list of different ones that we're probably not even scratched the surface of for the invisible disabilities.
Yeah. That could be a whole nother show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, thank you. I love how you ended. It's like just see people for where they're at, right? And I like how you say it. So can you say it again? Could you just say it with like this confidence and like this knowingness?
Yes, it's knowing is that you meet people where they are. You
Yeah.
never know what they're going through, and you never know, you know, what's going on with them. So just meet them where they are.
Yeah. So thank you so much. It was such a pleasure of having you on my show. Again, helping women to be seen and heard in this digital world, really promoting women entrepreneurs. So if you are in the Florida area, Pensacola, and you need a caregiver, you want to speak to Priscilla, we will drop the link afterwards underneath the heading of this. Or I think I'm actually in the event invite, I might have put the link to her website, but you can also go to her website and look at their webinars that are coming up on caregiving, different caregiver topics. And hope everyone had a fabulous Thursday. And we will have some more LinkedIn Lives next week coming. I mean, I know yesterday we were talking to Nyla Nova, a 7-year-old author and entrepreneur.
Oh,
So
wow.
on my show, we're getting all different types of entrepreneurs because there's always something to learn from everyone, and you can always meet them where they're at. So thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good one.
You too.